Welcome to growthtofreedom.com, the show that brings you inspiration, transformation, and leadership. We're helping you connect the dots, see the blind spots, and get unstuck so you can go out and create more leads, more sales, more profits. More importantly, so you can go out and have a bigger reach, have a bigger impact, and make a bigger difference. If that's what you want, you are going to love today's segment, today's episode, today's guest expert who will be joining us talking about what you can learn from Disney to transform your business and get free from the day-to-day. He's definitely an expert at being able to do that. His name is Dr. Scot Gray. He's a serial entrepreneur in healthcare, and he's on a quest. He's on a mission because let's face it, is our current healthcare system what you want? Is it what I want? Is it what we all want? Think about that. Is our healthcare system more of a sick care model rather than a transformational healthcare model? Well, our guest expert, Dr. Scot Gray, believes that you deserve something better. And he's on a mission all over the country to be able to help practitioners transform their practices, transform the way they serve patients like you, like me, to be able to live and operate in optimal health. He's also a good friend. He's a client, alumni of our programs, and someone I have a deep appreciation and respect. And in my opinion, he probably knows more about Disney than any single person alive that is not an executive at Disney. And he might know more than most executives. He's paid executives at Disney, some of the key founders and co-founders of Disney, for training and time. He's read almost every biography that's ever been put out by Walt Disney and more. So this is going to be a fun, fascinating conversation. So Dr. Gray, welcome. How are you, man?
Thanks, Dan. Awesome to be on here with you. Appreciate the invite. Look forward to chatting about some Disney and some business, and yeah, be great.
So talk about Disney. Like, what's your fascination with Disney that seems to go back to, since you were like a little kid?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was younger, I grew up in Ohio. So, the trip to Disney was like the big thing, right? I got to go there when I was after first grade. And I mean, I can remember to this day, I look back at those pictures, remember going there with my family and my brothers and just experiencing it and just, how fun it was. And you get back and you just want to go back. And I didn't really understand the fascination and all the things I understand about how they did it, what they did at that time. But I loved all the movies too. I was just a big Disney movie guy. I mean, everything they put out, I was just a fan. I love that world. I love the dream, the daring, and how the message that Disney has for kids and being able to do things and achieve things. And, a lot of that, it comes from Walt. So in my younger days, it was about the Disney movies. It was about these cool things that they had, going to the parks. And I still love that stuff. And especially with, two young girls and, two young princesses that we get to do that kind of fun stuff with, like, that's super exciting and fun to do with them. But my fascination changed once I owned a business. All of a sudden, I started reading books on Walt Disney himself. And really, I just saw him as I read these books. I really decided that that's the kind of leader that I want to be. I love how he developed his business, how the way that he dreamed about it, the way that he believed in things that nobody else believed in, seeing the risks that he took, seeing how he got so much out of people. And you can do this today, but back then, these people would be paid for like a normal 5-day week, and they're working 6-7 days a week. No one ever complained or said a word because they just wanted Walt to be happy. So it really switched from that love of the parks and all that to really how Walt grew his business. And you think about it, the guy's been dead for, since the mid 60s. And you look at what Disney has done, the company since then, to see a company that's almost, 100 years old, just thriving even after the founder. And so that's a big thing that I think about too, is how can I make myself redundant in my business? How can I just lead and, help create a business where I can get myself out of it? And one of the things that Walt said, this was one of the best quotes that I ever got in reading a book, and actually heard about this book from Dave Ramsey. He said it was his favorite business book of the year. and it was called How to Lead Like Walt. And such a great book. And one of the things he said in there is there's a story about when Walt was, doing an interview, and this kid comes up to him, this young guy, and he says, Walt, hey, do you draw Mickey Mouse? He said, no, I don't draw Mickey Mouse. So, well, do you draw any of the cartoons? No, I don't draw any of the cartoons. Do you come up with all the stories? No, I don't come up with any stories. And the kid says, well, Mr. Disney, what do you do? And this explanation really stuck with me. He said, I consider myself a bee, and I just fly around the office pollinating all of the flowers so that they can bloom and they can thrive. And I started to think of myself more that way of how can I be that person that's going to help each person be better in what they do. And so that is really what my fascination is how can I lead like Walt? And that's how it all started, the obsession.
That's there's so many lessons here. And, I'm going to dive into one of the lessons that, we have kind of a co-interest in is, if you're listening or watching, if you heard Scott say, I'm in Ohio, and one of our favorite things was to take a trip to Florida to go to Disney, right? But little may if you don't know Ohio, there's actually another amusement park in Ohio that's actually closer and less expensive that's called Cedar Point.
Absolutely.
And there's some lessons here that literally, because as you're watching or listening, what can be some of the tie-ins of business, not only to lead like Walt, but why would someone take his family that literally kind of go next door to a degree and go to Cedar Point versus pay 5 times as much, go all the way to Florida, spend more time and more money there? What are some of those lessons, Scott, that you could share that ties in with that?
Yeah, definitely. It's all, a lot of people, I think it got kind of popular with Starbucks, and that is creating that third place. Everyone has home and work, and then that third place, that where's that going to be? And Starbucks wanted to become that and has become that for a lot of people, right? But I think Disney has created a place that is so different from other places. And it obviously it's not a daily thing, but like I said, I would look forward to that vacation, right? When I took a vacation, I wanted to go to that place. And it all goes back to how Walt really set it up as far as, it's all about the show. It's all about the details. And a lot of people don't realize how detailed he was at making everything just perfect. So, I went to another amusement park down here in Florida called Legoland, it's cool. It's a fun place. My girls love the Legos. I love Legos. We all do. But you walk through and it just feels different. It doesn't feel like Disney. There's something about Disney that just feels different, right? And it's from everything from, every single person in that company picks up trash, right? There's a lot of pictures of Walt walking around the parks and picking up trash. And, one of the lessons that I learned about why the theme park is the way it is that when you look at CEOs, a lot of people think they're in an office making decisions. That's where they're most valuable. And at times it is. But you look at guys like Walt Disney was always in the park trying to figure out what he could do better, asking guests for feedback. You look at Steve Jobs. How did he make the Apple store the most profitable store in the world per square foot? He did it by going to those stores. He was always there trying to figure out how he could do it better. The CEO of Southwest Airlines gets on the plane and sees what's going on there. So I think as a leader, one of the things is we have to go experience what our people are experiencing, right? And I think that's missed a lot in companies. So let's take that back to the clinic. Have I gone to my clinics and gone through and experienced what it's like for a patient to come in, right? If I came into my clinic and the way that we're dressed, the cleanliness of, is there anything that's dusty? Is there anything that's dirty? Is there anything that's, when I make a coffee, is there a place, a trash can right there I can throw it away, right? Walt was always famous for those details, and specifically the trash can thing. Walt would go and he would eat, and he would take his food and walk around. And if he got, to where he was done and there was no trash can there, he realized, oh, we need to have trash cans closer together, because that's typically, if someone's walking, it's going to take them that long to eat, and they should have somewhere to throw it. And so that makes it easier for that person. And that's an experience thing, right? As opposed to you go there and you're thinking, oh man, there's never a trash can around here. The trash cans are always full, and it's little details like that. But it's, as a leader, it's going in and experiencing what your customer, your patient is experiencing, and really understand that what they're going through, and then take that to the next level. Everyone is, or most people are probably familiar with what are called the utilidors, or the Magic Kingdom was built really on the second floor in Orlando, because the first floor is all these chambers or these areas underneath where people can walk and move around, because Walt didn't want a princess from Fantasyland walking through Frontierland, because it wouldn't make sense in the time era, right? He doesn't want a pirate walking through Fantasyland, because it doesn't connect. So he built these things underneath. And it's really just thinking about, what are people seeing and experiencing when they come in your place? And I think that goes a lot back to the culture that he built, right? About, he called it being on stage versus being off stage. When you're on stage, you are, really focused on that guest experience, and that's it. You can't bring anything out on stage because you're putting on a performance, right? You're out there and they're watching a play, and you're there to help them. But a couple other little details, he did all kinds of stuff and the way to get the most out of people. Going back to that B thing, and one issue I think with a lot of businesses, and I've had it in my own business, is you bring up ideas and say, hey, let's do this thing. And everyone's like, oh, that's too difficult, or that's impossible. How did Walt get people to build a park and do so many things that had never been done before, right? Disneyland was never done before. A full length animation was never done before Snow White. How did he get people to believe in this stuff? And one of my favorite times that you talked about me meeting with different people from Disney, one of the guys I met with was Bob Gurr. He was one of the original Imagineers who helped Walt build Disneyland. And Bob said that basically Walt would come around and he would just say, what if? That was two of his favorite words. Hey, what if we did this? Or what if we had a roller coaster that went through a mountain? And they're like, well, that's never been done before. But what if we did it? How would we do it? Right? So he's always just, getting that imagination going. So I feel like it's his attention to detail. It's going out and seeing and experiencing what people are going through. And in the background, really helping to push that imagination of his team to be able to do things and create things that you don't see anywhere else. And that's why it was so different, because they were willing to risk, they're willing to dream. And that was his big thing. He said, first of all, you had to believe, right? You have to believe it's possible. If you don't believe you can put a roller coaster through a mountain, you're never gonna do it, right? You got to dream, right? You're dreaming these things up. You're believing you can do it, right? You got to dare to do it, take the risk, and then you do it and you make it happen. So that was his formula: dream, believe, dare, do. And those are just some lessons that I think that any business owner can take. And it's one of the most shocking things as a guy that's kind of a 30,000 foot view visionary guy, not really that detail oriented. That was one of the things where I would go through my clinics and I, actually like pull in the driveway and pay attention to what's the drive look like? What's the parking lot look like? Are there weeds? Little things that you don't see. And I started to experience that stuff, and it's a little scary sometimes to see the things we miss because we're so focused on the P&L sheet, or getting new customers, or dealing with something with the staff, and we forget about the big picture. And those things could be repelling people, causing people to not have that feeling. It's all about inducing a feeling out of people, right? You have a feeling when you go to Disney. It's all because of those details, and it's because of his imagination, how he worked with his employees, and how he, walked around the park and made sure that it was exactly like he wanted it.
And as you're watching right now, or you're listening right now, like what would happen for you if you really got tuned in to creating that unique experience for your potential and or your current perfect clients? And you tuned in to how that unique experience made them feel, right? In our model, we talk about it. It's your unique message. It's your unique method. It's your unique market. It's your unique experience. And go one layer deeper with Dr. Scott, it's the unique details, right? Like, what if you got clarity on your unique market? Like, who is your perfect client? You got clear on your unique message and focused on that. You got focused on the unique method of how you deliver, which then leads to the unique experience and feelings you create. And then what are some of the unique details that you could do that no one else thinks to do? Like, gives you a full 360 view of your business. This is some of what Dr. Scott is sharing with you. And like, how would that impact your business? How would that impact your ability to get new clients, to get and stimulate introductions, referrals, recommendations, nominations, and a whole lot more by just applying some of these simple strategies? Now, by the way, Dr. Scott, like one of the things that has been fascinating watching you and being part of your journey over the time that we've gotten a chance to know each other is like Cedar Point compared to Disney. By creating a unique message, unique method, unique experiences, and focusing on the unique details, they can charge 5 times, 10 times. You do that with something you created in your business that we work together on called the patient infusion method, which you help clients install in their clinics and their practices, right? Mm-hmm. And you went from, being like maybe considered a commodity Cedar Point model to being able to charge premium kind of prices by, again, focusing on what most people don't focus on. Speak to the importance of that and the tie-in with our viewers, our listeners' businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it was really creating that system that, people could see from step one to the end that it was going to work. It was something different. We had to figure out what the doctors really needed, what people really needed to do marketing, to do the things with us that they wanted to do. And when we found that, and we gave them something that nobody else did, and it actually included a lot of seminars that we did at Disney, right? That was an experience. We had our clients come to Disney and gave them, that amazing experience. And so the culture, they felt like they were part of something. They had a system they could use. We took care of all the details. We just laid it out. This is step 1, step 2, step 3. And then they see it as, wow, I've never seen anything like this. Again, that goes back to what you said with messaging, right? Our messaging was different. We weren't a Facebook marketing company. We weren't a Google marketing company. We were doctors who do already what you want to do. We've got the system all laid out, and we can help your office be successful as well. We have to do it to keep our doors open, and we'll do the same thing with you to make you profitable like we have in our businesses. So the message wasn't like, hey, do marketing with us. It's like, hey, do you want to have a successful practice like us? Follow our system. And so the messaging is totally different. And so we were perceived totally different as, well, they've already locked in the package. It's already done. That system works. I'm going to use it. Hey, if it's, $2,500 more a month than what I'm paying over here, I don't care because I know it's going to work. I know the system works. So, because they think with the other system or just a marketing company, they don't really know what I'm doing. They don't know how to talk to patients. They don't know if it's HIPAA compliant. So like ours was all encompassing of, just our specialty and what we did. So we were seen in a different light. And that's, it's kind of like a funny phrase that if you think about it, you've probably heard it before if you've been to Disney, is, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, you know, food is, you know, $10 for a hot dog. Well, it's Disney. What are you going to do? I mean, people they just cover it up, right? Like, it's Disney. What are you going to do? They have the ultimate price elasticity of like any company in the world. There's a little rubber ball they sell for like $200. And it's just because it is Disney-fied and you can only get it there and people will pay because, it's Disney, right? They've created that environment. And one of my favorite things is, so think about entertainment and how you package things, okay? And one of my favorite examples is World Showcase at Epcot. So at Epcot, they've got this thing they call World Showcase, which is a bunch of different countries all around a big lake. All right. So it's like you've got Mexico and China and Norway, Germany, and so on. So, and there's a few attractions. There's a couple rides in there that you can do. But really what this is, there's two things to do in these countries. You can shop in the stores or you can buy food. They've literally created a mall that people love to go to and spend money at much higher prices because it's countries, right? It's literally a shopping mall, but you don't feel that way. You feel that you're having fun. This is exciting. We're in Germany. Look at the people. Like, they're from Germany. This is so cool. And you'll pay 10 times as much than you would in the mall. That's really, I feel like, the epitome of Disneyfication is World Showcase. They make it, you don't feel like you're in a shopping mall. You feel like you're just having a great old time and they're just extracting money left and right from you as you go through there. So,
and as you're listening again or watching, like, what could you do to create your version of that? We talk about it in terms of build a buyer's culture or build a buyer's model instead of a seller's culture or seller's model. That's a great example of, by creating and focusing on unique message, unique method, unique market, unique experience, unique details, that you can go out there, enhance the experience, enhance the entertainment, and therefore increase your prices and create buyers. They line up to buy from you. They don't have to be sold, right?
And when people are having fun, they buy more, right?
Exactly. Now, speaking of that, like, you're huge into systems, and you've got dozens and dozens of different systems that you work with your clients. And if you want to get a glance at one of Dr. Scott's amazing systems, we did a presentation not too long ago. You can go check it out at growthtofreedom.com/332. That's growthtofreedom.com/332 on the perfect presentation. So get this quick story. So Dr. Scott is amazing at presenting in front of the room. And he wanted to figure out a way to get himself free from having to do so many presentations. So he created a presentation, essentially short version on video, and then started playing it in the practice, and then said, well, what if we played this online all the time and drove our potential patients or current patients to that presentation to then have them decide to move forward with services, right? And he set it up. And it's been amazing what's happened. So speak to the idea. Again, you've got dozens and dozens of all kinds of systems. This is just one great example. I love the way you think about things, of systematizing your business with this concept you call it the perfect presentation. Why is something like that important?
Because if there's a couple of books that I read that really started to help me see this concept. And actually, a guy that both of us know, Benny Fisher, told me one time, he said, Scott, you're never going to grow your practice if you're not okay with a 70% version of yourself. So, and he's saying, like, if you're in there doing this stuff all the time, you can only grow so much. So I start to think, okay, how can I not make myself necessary, right? How can I set up a system to where I don't need to be there, and how we can scale this thing? And so I thought to myself, well, shoot, people are coming to my seminar. Let's put it on video and get it in front of as many people as possible. And so I just went up, I recorded multiple seminars, and we tested to see which ones, worked the best online and, kept people captivated and that kind of thing. And so we found one that worked amazing. And so what happened was, yes, this was great for our office because people 24/7, which, and what we do, we help people with pain, right? So when do a lot of people look at stuff for pain? When they're laying in bed and they can't sleep, and they can sit there and they can watch that video and they can request a consultation for the next day with us, right? So this became probably the biggest game changer for our practice and ability to scale, be in front of people, have people watching it all the time. It's not just one time a week, because think about that person in pain. If they can't get out of bed, if they're in that much pain, they're going to do something about it. If they have to wait a week to come to one of my seminars, they're not calling me. They're going to someone else, right? So I give that, right at the time. We're there when they need us and they can watch that video. So that became huge for us. But then I thought to myself, well, how could we use this in a way that would help our doctors that we do marketing for? So that became the next thing. And another reason that we could charge more is because now they can use my video that promotes them. And so it's all about them on there. It's my seminar and they get to just play it. They have you want to call it a 24/7 salesman talking about this stuff, getting patients into their clinic. They don't have to do anything. So the system that we built up was really for redundancy, for me to be able to be in front of more people at the right time. So it's great for the clinics. Then I said, hey, I could do this for my doctors. And again, it becomes part of that package to where it becomes the experience of working with us, where they basically give us some information at the beginning. And then all of a sudden there's all these people watching a video that want to do the service in their office. I mean, it's the ultimate service. And then we started with a call center. So then we have the call center. We're actually booking the appointments for them. And it's really just looking at, Walt called it plussing. He always wanted to plus the business. How do we make it better? So the 24/7 salesman made it better. The way that we did ads made it better. The booking the appointments for them made it better. And so we're always plussing the business. And there's always ways that you can do it. I think one of the biggest traps we fall into, and I have before, is that this is good enough. This is great. Okay, let's not focus on that anymore. We need to go back and revisit, how can we make this better, right? This is working great. Hey, let's change this or add this and let's test it, right? With marketing, so we're always testing. So, and that's the same thing that Walt did. They test, they plus things and see if it made a bigger difference. But I think we can all do that in our business. And so think for yourself, what are you doing right now that's taking your time and effort? And how could you, get that in a sales letter, get that in a report, get that in a video, whatever, and you can get that out to more people. And then are there other people or colleagues that you could share that with, and they would license it or, do something to help their business as well. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. And, building systems like that, most people don't take the time to do it, right? It seems so simple, like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you just have a video out there? I don't know why no one else was doing it, but we did it, right? It's kind of like, I think it was Paul Simon. One time he made a CD and people were criticizing him, like, anybody can make a CD with African music over in Africa. He said, well, yeah, but I did. Like, anyone can do it. A lot of people, they just don't put in the effort. So always think about how to plus, think about how to make yourself redundant, think about how you can share that with other people and help more people have a bigger impact. And that, like, my impact has become so much bigger because of sharing that with so many different doctors, all of our clinics, and me actually getting out of the clinic, out of doing the talk in person, has made it so I've been able to help thousands and thousands of patients as opposed to just hundreds in the one location I was at. So
as you're listening or watching, again, I mean, we're just scratching the surface on Dr. Scot's wisdom, his experience, being able to build up, close to a dozen clinics where he's basically got himself free from those clinics. And, he sold some, bought some, expanding now helps other clinics grow their practices and just, simpler, smarter ways. Dr. Scot, if people want to learn more about you, get connected to you, find out where, like what you got, like where can people connect with you?
Sure. Yeah. Just go to drscottgray.com. So it's DRSCOT. Yep. Just one T in that. SCOTGRAY. always tell people I've got the hardest 8-letter name to do, but it's SCOTGRAY with a DR, drscottgray.com. And you can connect with me there. You know, I'm on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out if you want to chat about anything.
So I encourage you, go to drscottgray.com. That's drscottgray.com. He's got all kinds of resources. If you've liked this, we're just scratching the surface. You'll get a chance to start opening your world to understand like how is he going out and making a difference in the medical world, transforming clinics all over the country, expanding offices all over the country. Why? Because you've got proven methods, proven systems, proven unique experiences, and a whole lot more to be able to help you. Now, Dr. Scott, what is something, again, we've got a lot of history together. So like we could literally spend 5 days and still not cover everything together. So like, what is something I should have asked you today that we didn't get a chance to ask?
Oh man, I would say, I don't know. Maybe what's the best way to, implement the Disney method, so to speak, into your practice?
All right, let's go with that.
Your business, right? So, honestly, I'm just going to give the same advice that Dave Ramsey gave, and that is to go out and get that book, How to Lead Like Walt. Literally one of the best books I've ever read on leadership. And, to really understand how to lead a business and not be stuck in it. That was the biggest thing that I learned from Walt Disney. And what happens is when you can do that and you can break away from that day to day, all of a sudden you can start to, grow your business exponentially. Because what happens is you start to leverage other people's time. And that's really what it comes down to is, and Dan, you may have actually shared this with me back in the day, but there was that great article written in Harvard Business Review about the monkey on your back.
Yes.
And it's that whole concept of, people come to you as the owner and say, hey, I've got this problem. What are we going to do about this? And you say, hey, no problem. I'm going to check that out. I'll figure out and I'll get back to you. Next person comes in, same thing. And they're just coming in with the monkey they have on their back. They're putting it on yours. And then all of a sudden you got all these monkeys on and everyone's just waiting on you. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs, wondering like, what do I do? I'm waiting on this guy. And if you can learn just to be that bee that flies around the office and inspires people, shows the vision, like you actually spend more time thinking about your business than working in it. And that's probably one of the hardest things for me is I feel like I need to be busy, but really what I need to do, the hardest work is thinking. The hardest work is really honestly focused thinking on, are you doing the best strategy with your business? Who do you need to hire? Do you have the right people? Do you have the right people in the right place? What is there another, like coming up with that 24/7 salesman doing that video? If I didn't have that idea, I never would have been able to break away. I never would have been able to offer that to people. And that was an idea, right? So I say read that book, but I also say just if you want to Disneyfy your business, think about how you can pull yourself out of the day-to-day. Think about your business, inspire other people, just go around and believe that they have the talent to do it. Most of the time, the problem is that we don't believe they can do it. And so we just do it for them, right? As opposed to putting the time to train them to do it, right? Give them the training. Walt would send his animators to the best art studios and art classes. It eventually became Cal Arts. He created his own, animation training school, but he was sending them there at the beginning. He would bring in animals so they could look at animals. He always did the best thing for his team to train so that he had the best people. It's always about having the best people, and you can't have the best people unless you're spending the time to inspire and work with them, talk with them, see where the things are that they need, how you can help them. And that's the best way to do it. And again, that's an adventure. That's not something you do overnight, but I encourage you to work on it every day. Think about it. Hey, what's one thing I could hand off today so that I could encourage someone else, give them more meaning in the business, take me out of the business, and still get it done. And all of a sudden, you're seeing people become more productive. You're seeing your company grow, and things change from there.
And they shift from there. They change from there. Is that what you want? If that's what you want, I encourage you to apply what Dr. Scott has been sharing with you today. By the way, we've covered a lot in a short period of time. If you want to come back to this episode, you can do that at growthtofreedom.com/336. That's growthtofreedom.com/336. If you never want to miss an episode, go to growthtofreedom.com. That's growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. I encourage you, go check out what Dr. Scott has available. Check out his resource. Go to drscottgray.com. That's drscottgray.com. I want to shift a little bit, Scott, on, like what I love about you, speaking of what you brought up earlier, front stage, backstage, is that you have a front stage life and a backstage life that are congruent, where, we've talked about this many times privately, that we see a lot of people, they show up a certain way on stage, and then backstage, it's a lot different, we'll just say. And I'll bite my tongue on what I could say and about whom. But for you, I mean, what you see is what you get. You have a family life, right? None of us, no one that's an entrepreneur really doing big things has true balance in their life, because when you're obsessed, when you're on a mission, things are going to be leaning to one place or another. But what I appreciate and respect about you is your wife's a priority, your kids are a priority, and then the business, right? Yet you still work incredibly hard at the business. What, your wife has shown up for you in certain ways over the years, right, Jen? And you've got two amazing daughters who you call princesses, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were to, thank Jen for like how she's shown up for you, to allow you to be your best self most of the time, right? Like, what would you thank her for and how she has shown up to allow you to be you?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, man. I don't even know where to start. And like, Dan, you know me. Like, are you trying to get me to cry? You see me, you know how I am, man. So you're probably sitting there like, I bet he's going to start shedding a tear. But no, like, just everything she does with the girls. She homeschools our girls. I go out of town for conferences. She's not complaining about, hey, why aren't you here doing this? She makes all these sacrifices for everything I do. Me being out of town. She's the best freaking cook in the world. She makes awesome, healthy food to keep me healthy. That's such a huge part of being able to do this stuff every day, to have the energy to do it. And just to, like, yesterday, just be completely transparent here. I had a rough day yesterday. We had some conflict in our business that I had to resolve and come in as the leader and deal with it. I was just, kind of venting at home, and, she's that sounding board for me to just listen to me and help me, calm down. But she's just my rock when it comes to, taking care of everything. Like, literally, I do the business, and like everything else, she just kind of does. And I tell her, like, hey, let's get you some help here. Like, oh, I got it, I'm good. But that, and then spiritually as well, she's just so grounded in her spiritual life that has been an inspiration for me. And that's definitely something I thank her for, in the sense that, we all have our ups and downs and what we're focused on. And she keeps me focused a lot of times on the right things, when we can get a little crazy as business owners and, just focus on the business. And she's not afraid to speak truth. And that can be difficult to take sometimes, but she'll keep me balanced as much as, I can be balanced. And, I think I'll just give you one example and then I'll stop. But I used to have a thing on my mirror when she first saw in my bedroom. In my mirror, I had this thing posted up, and it said, "Get up before anyone and work. Go to sleep after everyone, and work your butt off." Like literally, that was posted on my. And she just crossed it out. She's like, "Nope, that's done. That's not going to happen." So she keeps me grounded. And honestly, I've had a lot of great mentors, and just like the family thing, like you're saying. But I've got a lot of colleagues that will text, call, do all this stuff, late at night and whatever. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm with my wife and girls. And you know what? If you can't get a hold of me, like, you're going to figure it out, and you just got to figure it out. I've got, they're the priority. I've got my work hours and I've got my family life, and nothing's going to penetrate that. And so it's just, anyway, I'm rambling, but she just does so much. I'd be a mess if it wasn't for her.
I mean, thank you for giving us a glimpse.
Yeah.
At your world. And as you're listening, as you're watching right now, like, what could you take from the way Dr. Scot has created boundaries and love and respect for himself, for his family, for his girls, for his wife, and then for his business? Right? You can have a great business and a great home life at the same time. You don't have to give up one to get the other.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to give your wife or your kids leftovers. You can give them the full plate, and you can give your business the full focus that it deserves to at the same time. And Dr. Scot is living proof that you can do that. It's not easy, and as Brian Tracy says, don't ask for it to be easy, ask for it to be worth it. Right? Ask for it to be worth it. And, that's what today's all about. So I encourage you, come back to this episode. I mean, I've got multiple pages of notes here. If you want to come back to this episode, go to growthtofreedom.com/336. If you never want to miss an episode, go to growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. That's growthtofreedom.com/subscribe. All the notes, all the quotes, all the links, the books, Lead Like Walt, all the links to Dr. Scott stuff are all going to be here in one place for you. Again, come back to growthtofreedom.com/336. Last question, Dr. Scott, before we wrap. What are 1 to 3 action steps you hope our viewers and listeners take today?
One is take a step towards getting out of your business, getting out of the daily stuff, right? So that's one. 2, I always wear a bracelet. I didn't talk about it much today, but it says the time is now. And so whatever you've been putting off, whatever you've been scared of doing, take a step towards it. And as Walt would say, you've got your dream, and maybe you just don't believe it's possible. You start working on that belief and take a step towards it. I took a step towards moving to Florida from Ohio when I had the opportunity. We had no idea how it was going to work out. It's been the best decision I ever made, but it was just because, look, let's do it. Let's see what happens, right? So let go some in your business. The time is now. Take a step towards the dream that you have. And I would say focus on inspiring your team and your business. So those are the 3 things. And I'll just do something. Hopefully it's not too cryptic here, but Dan, I got to tell you, I love that. So I've got 2 episodes here, the presentation 332, this one 336. I love that my episodes have the number 33 in them. And if you know anything about Disney, 33 is one of my favorite numbers with Disney. So you can try to figure that out and what that means. So,
yes, it might be that secret place, but I think we're not allowed to really talk about that secret place, at least publicly. So we won't talk about the secret place, but maybe you'll look on Google. What is the secret place at Disney? Maybe you'll hear of it. Anyway, Dr. Scott, as always, it's a pleasure, brother. So great to have you with us. So great for you to share your wisdom. I mean, you got so many perspectives. I literally wish we had 5 days because, like, that would be a freak show.
First, go on for a while, man.
That's right. And you've got the goods on both sides of the house, at home and in your business. So I encourage you, take action with what Dr. Scott has shared with you, right? There's so much wisdom here, so many things to unpack, like even as simple as like, what would happen if you just transform your unique client experience slightly? Or focused on like, what are some of the unique details in our business that we could make even better today? Or what could we do to make our unique message even stronger this moment? And a whole lot more. Literally, there's dozens and dozens of strategies that Dr. Scott has shared with you. So take action, apply it, and see what happens. So there you have it. Dr. Scott Gray, seize the day, make it a great week. And guess what? We'll see you next time on growthtofreedom.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to this episode of growthtofreedom.com. Are you struggling to get a steady flow of new clients every day? Or maybe hit a plateau or hit a wall in growing your business? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's review your business and have a conversation. You can do that for free today at breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. In addition, if you're looking for a simple way to implement some of what we've been talking about in today's episode, then I want to encourage you to get our free small business toolkit. You can get that at activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit growthtofreedom.com.